Basically, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions, he's in a bit of trouble because he lied on his form about meeting with the Russians. And the Russians might eat some weird food and have some strange names, but they are a member of the great white race, even if they is in a certain matter Oriental. He's in a weird position because he clearly lied about his meetings with the Russians. Comey did not want him in on the process. At the same time, Trump is losing confidence in him, apparently because Sessions recused himself and has a little bit of a more savvy sense about how to do a cover-up. One of the underlying themes of this white supremacy administration is that all of these races really spend a lot of time arguing with each other. And Sessions seems to be out at the moment. Here is Senator Angus King of Maine. He was talking on CBS this morning, and he's of the Intelligence Committee. Sessions is going to testify for them, and King wants it on the public record, not in closed session. Here he is.
Heard James Comey raise concerns about the Attorney General's dealings with Russian officials. Do you believe there might have been a third meeting? What are some of these concerns?
Well, I don't want to comment on that. As you know, Mr. Comey, Director Comey, said we need to talk about some of these things in closed session. So I can't confirm whether there were other meetings. I think that's obviously one of the things we want to ask Mr. Sessions. And by the way, my inclination is that this should be in an open session. The only reason you go into a closed session is if it's national security, and I don't believe we're talking about national security issues here. If we get into national security issues, we can cut off that line of questioning and defer it to a closed session. But my starting point is that the American people need to understand this whole issue.
So that's important, and of course it needs to be in public session. We'll see what they decide. Now, I maintain the position that this show maintains, that there is something to the Russia story, probably much more of an organized crime and sleaze story, just like the whole Trump story is in large part a sleaze and crime story. That said, and that it's politically effective. And if Russia drags down its poll numbers and it disrupts the Republican legislative agenda, then great. That said, even as Republicans are rolling and supporting Trump, no matter what, Paul Ryan said, he's new to government. I mean, people obviously demanded loyalty. They are just 1 second. They are moving forward with a vicious legislative agenda to undo health care, and that is happening in the Senate. I'm just going to quote now briefly from the New Republic. Trump is in free fall, but the GOP is going to ram through Trump care anyway. Last week was Infrastructure Week in the White House, but you wouldn't have known it if you paid attention. Well, only thing that happened in politics. Instead, Trump spent the week picking a fight with former FBI Director James Comey, who testified on Thursday. Then it goes on to talk about how he undermined Rex Tillerson in the Middle East. But on Thursday, the House rolled back Dodd-Frank protections that were designed to prevent another financial crisis, passing the biggest bank deregulation in decades. McConnell's been characteristically quiet, but that's not to say he hasn't been busy as well. While many have declared that the House's health care bill, the AHCA, or Trump care, was dead in the water in the Senate, McConnell has apparently settled on a repeal bill that looks very, very similar to the one passed by the House. The Senate bill, it seems, would gut coverage for the poorer, sicker people while redistributing wealth to the richest. The Senate bill would also roll back Obama's Medicare expansion. Now, those supposed moderates like Susan Collins look to be getting on board with slashing Medicare. They can still stick something in to do some type of fake pre-existing conditions protection, but everything else there, from the race to the bottom in terms of employment care to the slashing of the Medicare expansion, is happening. So at this point, we thought of it in terms of Trump dragging down overall Republican political prospects. But now at this point, we almost seem to be at a boomerang effect, which is that, okay, this lunatic is causing so much drama and so much nonsense in the executive branch. And Republican and Democrats pretty much seem to be only able to kind of gather themselves to talk about the Russia thing. And we can move forward with the next devastation of people's health care and tax cuts, which are the sole purpose for Republicans existing.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos